Welcome, in front of me is a OPPO Reno 14 and today I will show you a couple tweaks and the tricks you can do on this device. So, to get started, we're going to open up our settings application and let's begin with the wallpaper and style, which is a general location where you can customize the look and feel of your device. It will include already pre-existing themes which have things like fonts, colors, wallpapers, which you can obviously customize once you set them, but you can also download more themes by going in here or create kind of like your own by choosing your own wallpaper, always on display, which is turned off by default, so you can turn that on in here if you want, and also customize it while we're in here, as you do have just a little bit of control over it, how it will look like. So as an example, I can select a analog one, a clock. Okay, interesting looking one. That is an interesting looking one. Okay, so it's now enabled, and when we close it, we should have it show up. Yep, there we go. Now continuing on, if we go back, we have things like fonts. So here you can choose font size of them as well, and one of the better options is icons. This allows you to actually change the home screen icons to ones that come already pre-installed with the device, or if you download other ones from things like, for instance, Play Store, they will be showing up in here as well. So you can have custom icon packs and select them from here, and also have a bit more customization for already the one that you already have enabled, along with ones that you might download in the future. So you can obviously change things like, for instance, the size of them. You can see right here we have a show up name, so you can hide it for more clean look. Personally like the names, just makes it a little bit easier, and you can also increase the names of these icons. So if you have some kind of visual impairment, this will allow you to have a bit of a larger text, so it's easier for you to see. And you can also toggle on the Art Plus icons, though it doesn't seem to be doing much for these specific options. You can see the Instagram changes just a little bit. So it uses some redesign icons for third-party apps, whatever that's supposed to mean. It might be that it's trying to match the theme of the default apps, but I could be wrong about that one, to be completely fair. Anyway, we're going to go back. Scrolling further down, we have additional options for customization, like the colors. This refers to things like these colors, blue. You can change them to match your wallpaper color, which for me that's just gray, like my life. Or you have featured colors, so just more all over the place colors, more vibrant ones, and none that are like based on your wallpaper. But when it comes on to the matching of wallpaper, you could utilize this option. For me, that wallpaper is the mountain right here, which apparently doesn't have, which has gray colors somehow. I'm not really sure where they're pulling the gray. See a lot of like vibrant blue, almost purplish hue right here. So these ones are kind of weird. Mono, fresh, elegant, Arctic, bright. Yeah, this ain't bright, but oh well. So anyway, you can customize it, along with also customizing the fingerprint animation if you use that. I want to point out one thing here for people that might be thinking that they're gonna, cheese the system right here. You do have the option to turn off your animation for your fingerprint sensor. If you ever experience unlocking your device during the nighttime with your finger and you get flashbanged by the sensor because it is pretty freaking bright, turning off the animations right here doesn't actually get rid of this white light. It only gets rid of any kind of additional effects associated around it. The bright light is there to illuminate your finger so the sensor can see it. So if you get rid of it, you kind of can't unlock the device with your finger anymore. So I just wanted to kind of point that out for people that might be interested in trying this out. Anyway, let's continue on. So next we can go into home screen and lock screen, and here we have things like home screen layout, which allows us to pack a little bit more applications on our home screen for a tighter and more dense look. Also one that allows you to have more content on a single page. You have also the home screen mode, which we right now have drawer mode, but you can change it to standard. Standard is the all apps vomited all over your home screen and no app drawer at all. So I personally don't like this, but if you do, you can change it. And additionally, if you're using drawer, you do have the column options right here, so you can increase it to have more columns. So now, again, it's a bit tighter packed than it was before. Now, if we scroll down, here we have another actual nice option, which is the swipe down on home screen. Now, by default, OPPO has the, well, it should have global search, but it's trying to also introduce the shelf, which is the thing that OnePlus also has. I mean, it's technically one big parent company. But luckily enough, it gives us this option when you try to swipe down to choose which option you actually prefer. Shelf, global search, or notification and quick settings. I'm a fan of the last option, notification and quick settings. I'm going to confirm that. And now when you swipe down, wherever, it shows up your notifications and settings, which is pretty, well, to me, more convenient than some search or shelf. Especially that you can get search right here technically. Not the same one, but usually I search for applications, so that's it. And that was basically what I would have been showing up right here. Another cool thing in here, we have the app animation speed. So we have standard and enhanced. Enhanced meaning it's just going to be faster. And I like that the fact OPPO includes animations for these, so you can kind of see how they will change. Now these are exaggerated animations, as honestly the normal animation speed of opening up apps is probably closer to this. Yep, you can see. So I would say it's much closer to this. The switching was a bit closer to, I guess, this in terms of speeds. But yeah, you can basically have fast. Actually, wait, I already changed it, so let's actually close this. It's still pretty fast, faster than what we have right here. Enhanced basically cuts the animation speed by about half. So these animations are already fast, now they're just twice as fast, but this is exaggerated imagery of how they look like. So I personally like to increase the animation speed just so I can get to applications a bit faster. Now, let's move now to the display and brightness, and here we have light and dark mode, and you can choose whichever one you want, but you also have the schedule mode, which allows you to swap between these options on a custom timer or sunset to sunrise. And going back to display and brightness, we also have, where is it? We have the vivid color boost, which this basically converts SDR content to HDR. So keep in mind this will be using a processor, number one, higher power consumption, and number two, not as accurate as actual high dynamic range content. So just pointing that out. But still, if you want to have a little bit more range in your videos that you might be watching, this could be a way to try and get that like higher range from even a standard dynamic range content, which will be for the most part everything that you watch online. Now, another thing is the image sharpener. This just tries to upscale the image, so if it's like low resolution like 720p or even lower like 480, it will try to upscale it to have a higher, sharper look to it. Again, uses more processing power, or just processing, so uses more battery, but it might give you sometimes a better, sharper image if whatever you're looking at as a reference, a specific video, isn't already sharp enough. So yeah, neat option for probably a niche circumstance. Next, we have the screen refresh rate down here, and this allows us to choose between auto, standard, and high. Now, for majority of the people, I actually recommend keeping it as it is set by default, which is auto, which means that it alters between these options, so it can run up to 120 hertz, but if it doesn't need to, it will lower it down actually below 60, as up to it says actually no, here it says that rate of 60 hertz, so it doesn't really say up to 60 hertz, but I believe this is an LTPO display, which would imply that these refresh rates can go below 60 frames. But no matter, what I recommend doing here for the selected view is swap it to standard, see if you see any like difference when you're sliding up and down. I personally do see a huge difference, so I am sensitive to this kind of choppy refresh rate basically. So I'll be sticking with the auto, but if you don't see a difference between this when you're scrolling and however the image looks like, then stick with the standard. It will get you better battery life over the high or auto. And honestly, don't use the high. Technically, these two are exactly the same. As you can see, it runs the refresh rate up to 120 Hz, and so does this. So they're the same thing. So choose either one of those. If you see a difference, stick with this one. If you don't, keep the standard. And lastly, we have notifications and quick settings. Now, here we have the status bar, which allows us to clean up the clutter in our status bar. And because this is one big parent company along with the OnePlus and the Realme, we have the toggles right here for a lot of different toggles right here. And I want to point out that I pointed out these three companies because they're one big company technically, and they're really one of the only companies that allows us to just get rid of useless shit from our status bar, because that's basically what we're doing. If you tend to use NFC, well, NFC is turned off by default for some reason right here, because God forbid you would actually know that your NFC is enabled as a new user, and for instance have your credit card added. And this seems kind of out of all the toggles that they could have turned off, they turned off the worst one, the one that I feel like it's just done purposefully as a scam, because NFC is used for contactless payment. So if you add your credit card here and your device is unlocked, someone can just kind of like do yoink and swipe away money from you, as an example, assuming they have like a terminal instead of a phone. So this seems to be a bad option to have by default turned off. But on my end, I do actually have it turned off because I am aware that what it does and how to use and all that stuff. So I don't really care, and I don't care to see it permanently in there, as I don't actually turn it off when I'm not using it. But I also have things like Bluetooth turned off on my device, do not disturb mode, as I never really care for it, and anything else that I permanently have enabled but don't care to see. So for instance, Wi-Fi would be one of those, but we can't really turn it off on here apparently. Now another thing that we have cool in here is the battery. So by default it actually selects one that I would prefer to use anyway, which is the vertical battery. Vertical? No, horizontal. Yeah, this is the horizontal one. Horizontal battery with a percentage inside. Now I'm pointing the option that percentage is inside, as this is the only time you can have it inside of the battery. If you change it to vertical, loop, for either one of those, the battery will be outside just because it cannot fit the number inside of the battery when it's in vertical or this kind of design. So if you swap it to horizontal, this is the only time you can have your battery inside of it, which is what I personally like. And lastly, we have notification icons right here, so you can choose either to have the notifications shown as they are right here, cluttery, or you can, for instance, change it to just a single number. And now it shows up how many notifications we have, but doesn't show the icons for it. This is my personal go-to option, as it just cleans up the status bar further than what we have already done. So there we go. That basically sums up all the tweaks and tricks that I want to show you. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.